So, welcome everyone. Before we start the reading, let's take a moment of silence to invoke Mother's and Sri Aurobindo's presence and to bring all the scattered threads of consciousness back home in the body. So today we can start from here. Last time we stopped at the conversation of Friday, Feb 5, 1926, and maybe today we can take this up. Thursday, Feb 11, 1926. Yeah. Anybody who'd like to read, please go ahead.
Yes. Starting from I must indeed, right?
Yes.
Thursday, February 11, 1926. I must indeed have confused two movements, quieting my dynamic mind and going out of my body. Consequently, I had to work all over again to get mental silence. I can get it, though not always, for the dynamic mind is very active and I'm always obliged to supervise it. I attain also a kind of relative peace. I am motionless, attentive, in a sort of transparent surrounding. But this has never a very long duration. It is another peace, deeper, which I want to attain, that which will destroy the feeling of the self. One difficulty comes from trying at the same time to keep the mind silent and to look beyond, to make this offering silent and attentive. These last few days, I forced the meditation a little too much, and the tension was too great. I have come back to 3 hours a day, dental neuralgia. Why is this feeling of personal effort so painful? It is not inertia and rest I want, but peace in action, the cessation of individual effort. The deeper peace cannot come till the lotuses are open and the force descends to take possession. Besides, a distinction must be made between the real individuality and the illusory sense of the ego. The true individuality is a fragment of the universal consciousness, and even when it seems to merge in this consciousness, the distinction is nevertheless there. It permits organized action, which without it would be impossible. As gradually the supreme force takes possession of you, the sense of effort will diminish. but the separate action will disappear only with perfection. Besides, other difficulties will yet come. Your active centers, other centers higher than the solar plexus. The others are asleep. With their awakening, the mind, even quieted and controlled, will again be invaded and submerged. The real difficulties come then. In the mind, there is always an element which helps. But here, everything is directly linked with life and action. I'll just read that last sentence one more time. The real difficulties come then in the mind. There is always an element which helps. But here, everything is directly linked with line and action. Since you feel the possibility of uniting yourself to nature through the solar plexus, do it when not in regular meditation. You also say that all that you do outside meditation seems to activize your mind again. This has no importance. You cannot do nothing. Everything must take its time. And you are of those who have built everything on the mind, hence the difficulty. Others open easily, but do not be impatient. This prolongs the sense of personal effort.
Yes, thank you. So, anyone, anything here?
Yeah, yesterday, these lines in Savitri are like, they resonate with, they're very similar to what I just said. It says here, this is Canto 3, Book 1. It says, even on the struggling nature's left, even on the struggling nature left below, strong periods of illumination came. Lightnings of glory after glory burned. Experience was a tale of blaze and fire. Air rippled round the argosies of the gods. Strange riches sailed to him from the unseen. Splendors of insight filled the blank of thought. Knowledge spoke to the inconscient stillnesses, and rivers poured down of bliss and luminous force, visits of beauty, storm shifts of delight, rain from the all-powerful mystery above. So there are three or two lines here. It says, splendors of insight. Like the first of all, the strange riches sailed to him from the unseen, and they were bringing splendors of insight, and they were filling the blank of thought. So yesterday Shraddhavan was explaining how um, the blank of thought is this, is the silence of the mind. If the mind is silent, if the mind is still, then and when the right time comes, then these 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 gifts will also come down. And she said that it's very important. The mind needs to be still. Even if there is aspiration and the mind is unstill, then it doesn't come. And then the next line, again, knowledge spoke to the inconscient stillnesses. So from what I'm reading there, it talks about so many different things. But what I'm getting out of it is that the first step for me, being a beginner, is to have that silence, have that stillness, that unmoving stillness. And the last sentence was very, very beautiful. It said, I think I don't correctly remember it, but it says something like, be patient, right? Yeah, but do not be impatient. This prolongs the sense of personal, effort. That really helps, because like, there is always this transactional mindset that, okay, I'll do this, maybe next year I'll get something out of it. But there is no specific timeline to this, and uh, this helps. Yeah, that's all. Thanks.
Yeah, anything else? Anyone? Yeah, so again, this is all that we are reading these days through Pavitrada. These are all very practical experiences, and I hope and pray and wish that all of us, apart from all the readings and whatever swadhyay that we are doing, uh, that we also spend some time, at least some time every day, to the practical bodily experience of sadhana. Because I personally feel that for a lot of us, for many of us, that also is important. Although some of us may say, I am a karma yogi and I don't need to do meditation or whatever, but to each his own. We have to find our own way and our own path. And I feel that this bodily connection of being with the breath, or invoking mother's name in the body, as Jagan was sharing, stilling the mind absolutely, and not only the mind but also the lower centers. I feel that, especially if I look at my own self, I feel that the lower centers, of which we are not aware that much, they also create a lot of ruckus. For example, the center of desire is like the stomach, and below the stomach, you have lower vital desires, and uh, the seat of expectation, demands, cravings. So I feel that a lot of stillness and peace also needs to be bodily, like we have a bodily experience, that it gets established there on those centers, along with the mind being absolutely still and receptive, and uh, kind of in a state of a passive receptivity. So Sri Aurobindo talks about that lower centers here in the response. So we'll go through it. And if there is anything, please unmute and share. Yeah, so he's wanting a deeper kind of a peace. We see here, Pavitra Dahi says, it is another peace, deeper, which I want to attain. Not such kind of a peace that, if I move and if I act and if I am engaging in the day to day activity, I lose that peace. Not that kind of a peace. Because he says that it is a relative peace that I have. It's not really long lasting. And he says it is another peace, deeper, which I want to attain, that which will destroy the feeling of self. Now, this occurs to me, I may be wrong, but I feel that many a times through our life experiences, when we have our growth, then there is a certain stability and peace that we get through those experiences, like a kind of a wisdom, growth of wisdom. And I feel that that also stabilizes the energies within. For some, it may happen early in life, and for some, it may happen later in life, and for some, it may not happen at all. But I feel that this restless energies that we have, kind of, through our life experiences and growth that we have through life experiences, it kind of gets settled within the body. There is one couplet by Kabir ji. He says, तन भीतर मन मानिया बाहर कतहु न जाए ज्वाला ते ज्वाला से जल भया बुझी बलंती लाए. So he says that tan ke bhitar, like within my body, now my mind has settled. It doesn't go out anywhere for its satisfaction. If we look at our own lives, all of us, then we will see that from time to time we have this restlessness. किसी एक फ्रेंड को फोन कर लें, कुछ बात कर लें, चाहे स्पिरिचुअल डिस्कशन है, स्पिरिचुअल डिस्कशन कर लें, सो एक अर्ज होती है, एक तलब होती है, and we then go out to fulfill it, and then for some time we feel relatively fulfilled. Then again we become kind of, something is missing, something is missing, and then we have to again go out. So now he says that now I have found my settlement within this body. I feel it's a great achievement because from time to time we have glitters and promises outside, and we keep running, even in the name of spiritual satsang, we may keep on running outside, because something inside is not getting settled. So he says, tan bhitar man maniya, bahar katahu na jaye, jwala te bhai jal bhaya. So jwala is like a flame, that which was agitated like a flame, restless like a flame, that has now cooled down and become water. Bujhi balanti lai. So, I've gotten rid of that agitated restlessness that I used to have within. So, I don't know why I shared that. Yes, so I was talking actually about this restlessness, that we lose that peace very easily, and then something uh, else becomes very important, and then we run after that. So he says that I want a very deep peace, a peace which would not get unsettled when I am interacting with the world. See, we are very sticky people, and even when we are trying to become non-sticky, we are still sticky in the process. So we stick to all our friends, we stick to all our relationships, people we talk to, we stick to experiences in our life, positions in our life. We don't even know that we stick, but we stick. So this kind of a peace, I feel, that is a peace which is not now wanting anything from outside experiences. They may come as a part of it, part of life, but now it is not. It knows that the fulfillment lies within. So slowly the lower centers also have to take part in that peace, and that is what Sri Aurobindo shares later. That these deeper peace you will get only when the lower centers are also kind of active, and they have also gone through that illumination. Hmm? So kuch chahiye nahi. So here she says that which will destroy the feeling of self. Now, whenever we talk about a feeling of little self, we always see that there is always wants and demands associated with little self. हमको कुछ ना कुछ चाहिए जीवन से, कुछ ना कुछ चाहिए, कुछ ना कुछ चाहिए. So when all the fulfillment has been found within to a relative degree, then that feeling of self, which is always wanting, 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 that is also parallelly associated with it. That is what he's sharing in the, implicit in the question. I feel that it is another peace, deeper peace, which I want to attain, that which will destroy the feeling of self, because the feeling of self is usually making us very agitated, because that self always wants to fulfill itself, and it is not getting its fulfillment through the outer material manifestations. So now Sri Aurobindo answers, let's see what he's saying here. The deeper peace cannot come till the lotuses are open. So referring to the centers, and the force descends to take possession. So when we are possessed by the divine, when we allow that possession, then we have a deeper peace. And about this descent of force and consciousness, we have talked about earlier also. There is much available material in Sri Aurobindo's writings and letters on yoga and other places. We see this descent he talks about in Synthesis of Yoga also. So the deeper peace cannot come till the lotuses are open and the force descends to take possession. Besides, a distinction must be made between the real individuality, the psychic individuality. It's not that the individuality has to completely annihilate, but illusory sense of the ego. That is what is the trouble with us. That who we think we are, but we are not. So the real individuality is here to stay and express itself. That is the mission of each one's life. But it is the illusory sense of the ego that has to be taken care of, which makes things entangled. The images about me and myself and my life and all of it. The true individuality is a fragment of the universal consciousness, and even when it seems to merge in this consciousness, the distinction is nevertheless there. It permits organized action, which without it would be impossible. So there is a purpose to a real true individuality, which each one of us have. Each one of us is very special, unique permutation and combination of elements and skills and abilities. And that psychic individuality is here to function for the divine. Like a unique piece of puzzle, each of us are. So he says, as gradually the supreme force takes possession of you, this sense of effort will diminish. But the separate action will disappear only with perfection. So saying that it is a gradual process and we must not get frustrated while we are at it. Besides, other difficulties will yet come. Your active centers are the centers higher than the solar plexus. So higher would mean the upper centers, which is the throat center, the ajna, the third eye center, and also the heart center. That is above. And not right now, maybe not the heart center, because he says the active centers right now only are the centers above the solar plexus, the heart center. The others are asleep. With their awakening, the mind, even quieted and controlled, will again be invaded and submerged. So it is not like a very easy process. There is a turmoil and there is a kind of a sense of ripples that go on. And he says that even when the other centers open, there will be chaos in the mind. It is not that it will be all quieted and controlled and everything will be very smooth. So he says, with their awakening, the mind, even quieted and controlled, will again be invaded and submerged. The real difficulties come then. In the mind, there is always an element which helps. We have this power of observation. We were talking about that element earlier in the earlier readings, that there is this discerning ability in the mind about what is to be followed and what is not to be followed. The witnessing element, the observing element, and that will be helping. But here everything is directly linked with life and action. So the lower centers are of energy, life energy. So they are centers full of life energy, and that is why when their activation starts, there is a movement that we experience, and it is not, they don't have that, there we don't have. In mind, we have that witnessing aspect. But there it is more of uthal puthal that will happen for some time, until the force descends fully and takes control of the lower centers also. So again, there would be hardly any need to talk about these things, because these are all experiential realizations or things, and all of us will have our own experiences, and I think those are the best guides. But to reiterate that we have to do some bodily practices so that we have an opening above and the descent of the force, because otherwise lots of turmoil keeps on happening because of life energies which are there, agitated restless life energies, and without that opening above and the descent from above, uh, yeah, it's really a very difficult and long, frustrating at times process. Yeah. So some or the other practice which resonates with our individual prakritis and natural inclinations, they, I feel, need to be part of our life if we think now that we are ready for it. So anything here, anyone? So if not anything, we can take something more. Um, yes, let's take this Monday, Feb 15th, 1926. Yeah, anyone would like to read?
If nobody, I can read. Monday, February 15, 1926. The effect of sadhana makes itself felt especially outside meditation. It is becoming more and more easy for me to assume the role of witness of the actions of the mind and even of the body. From this comes quietude, but the mind is not yet silent. This separation has made me conscious of the disorderly chaos of the dynamic mind, and thus, at first, I thought it was becoming more active, whilst really I was simply conscious of its action. The main thing is precisely to deepen and increase this consciousness, witness or Purusha consciousness. The silence of the mind is certainly a precious faculty, but it will come in its time. The widening of this consciousness will bring the influx of a deeper consciousness. Besides, isn't this witness silent? Before coming here, I used to smoke. Then I stopped. Now, I often have the desire to smoke. What should I do? There is no absolute rule, and this is of no very great importance. I too smoke, but to abstain from something gives a purer atmosphere. Besides, you have stopped. It is better not to begin again. The time spent in sleep seems to me lost. Is there no means of using it better? Is it lost? Everything in sadhana is not conscious effort. Besides, it is a very difficult thing which comes at the end. The body rests, but you have nothing to replace the topper of the inner being. Later, gradually, sleep gets organized in its turn.
Thank you. Yeah. So anything here? Yeah. So if not anything, maybe I can move ahead. If there is anything, please share.
Not really to share, but that second question, about the smoking thing. When you come there, I would like to listen what there is, like a little bit more context on that.
I have actually, I thought I won't really go because it's very clear. So if you have anything, you can ask or
Yes, yes.
yes.
So, it's here, he says that there is no absolute rule, and this is of no very great importance. I too smoke, but to abstain from something gives a purer atmosphere. Besides, you have stopped it, it is better not to begin again. So, so how does this address the desire thing that the question was mentioning now?
Uh, address means, so he says that
मतलब,
I
yeah,
often have the desire to smoke. And Sri Aurobindo says that it is, in your case, in this case, it is better to remain stepped away from desire because since you have stopped it once. See, because these things are very addictive in nature, no?
yes, yes,
So, if we have stopped an addiction once, and now we say that for 1 year I have not touched it, and we know that if we touch it once again, we will actually fall into that thing again because we are very sticky. We have not fully turned to the divine yet. So that is why Sri Aurobindo shares that in this case, first of all, he says that to abstain, like to step back from desire, gives us a purer atmosphere. If we want that, then we choose that. Secondly, since he has already stepped back from desire for a long time, it is a very good space that one should not maybe take the slippery slope again. Because we are sticky. Sri Aurobindo used to, we know that he used to smoke cigar, but his way of smoking cigar and our way of smoking cigar is not the same, right? We become addicted to it, but he has his own divine addiction, and that is enough. So we are not Sri Aurobindo. So yeah, I think it's
okay,
referring to that stickiness
yeah,
that we have been able to stop that uh, not getting fulfillment from the cigarette, then it is
yes.
better that we remain stepped away. That's what I feel.
Yes, yes. Because like desires, especially addictions nowadays with the media and the Netflix and stuff, so sometimes we start a series, unfortunately, and then these series they go on for like years sometimes, and what happens is when I leave them in the middle, like I've left some series in the middle after a while, and then there's this desire to just complete it, but it's a waste of time, so not going there. But I think, unlike the Aurobindo. It happened for him like he can just snap his fingers and say, I'm not going to do it tomorrow. I am not that. So I think this back and forth might happen, but it's good to know that once I am in that space, this brighter space, then it's better to abstain. So yeah, thank you.
Yes.
His answers are so simple, but it takes a while to kind of absorb them. So yeah.
There is a line in Savitri which often comes to me, and I resonate with that a lot. I'll just maybe bring it up for all of us. Um, just a second. Yeah, if there is anything in the meantime, please go ahead. I may take some time. Okay, I'm not finding it right now. There is this line where he says, "Earthly joys keep away from the immortal's bliss." So I somehow resonate very well with this line, because as long as I am having my contentment, yeah, I got it. Yes, just a moment. Here it is. This one, The Way of Fate and Problem of Pain, page 443. So earth's joys shut from thee the immortal's bliss. So as long as I am having delight in the joys of the earth, you know, the immortal's bliss is shut away from me, and I actually don't even crave for it, because earthly joys are enough. But I feel that in all of our lives, there comes a time in our life where we see that earthly joys, they may be joys at times, but they also bring a lot of disappointment since they are fleeting. So nothing is stable, no relationship is stable, no workplace is stable, no life situation is stable, things are fleeting. So that thing which is giving me joy right now is not long lasting. It is not kind of, till eternity, it can't give me joy. So there is this thing with earth joys, that whatever is bringing me joy right now, very soon it will become a bringer of my pain. So, but what happens to us is, since we are familiar with it, that is the only thing that we have done so far for a little bit of delight. And everyone, each one of us wants delight. So whatever little delight is coming my way, let me have it. Let me have it. Why? Because we don't have yet the immortal's bliss. All of us are craving for actually immortal's bliss, but we don't know that we are craving for that. That which is long lasting, that which never snaps. you know but since we don't have it, and since we, in our ignorance, we don't even know how to go for it, whatever little we have on the way, we keep craving for it, and we want to keep repeating it, and that becomes our habit. So for example, we were talking of social media. If we have a little bit of joy in it, a little bit of delight in it, we make it our habit, because the mind wants it again and again. Same with cigarettes, same with any relationship addiction is the similar. It's like all addictions belong to this category, that we want it again and again. Why again and again? Because they are not lasting in nature. A cigarette kind of, it ends, and then over, after some time it fades away. Then I want another cigarette, then I want another cigarette, then I keep, like burn money, get another cigarette. Same with all our addictions that we have, because they are not long lasting. But what we are wanting is actually the lasting delight, which is immortal's bliss. But here Sri Aurobindo shares the catch, that as long as the earthly joys are sufficient for me, I feel that okay, I can do this all my life, to keep repeating, repeating, repeating. And if this ends, then to repeat another habit, then to repeat another habit. I'm happy with it. I don't want immortal bliss. Then, of course, we don't have to worry about that. Our whole life is like that. But if we now understand the problem with earth's joys, that there is a lot of craving, a lot of demand, a lot of torture on the other person, from which I am demanding that you are the one, why don't you give me delight? Or a life situation or a workplace. Basically, I am telling the earth or the manifestation, why are you not giving me happiness? A lasting happiness. So, to realize that it is right now, we are not in supramental manifestation, and right now, those things cannot bring me a lasting delight. But I can have lasting delight within myself, within me, and then I can offer myself to the world outside, but not for delight. So, when we are not interacting with the world outside for our delight, then we are not abusing the world. We are not abusing our relationships. We are not abusing the workplace. I don't want more and more money because I want contentment from that, because I have contentment within. Now, what can happen is we can begin to offer ourselves outside, because I have contentment inside of me, within me. So I think that is beautiful, and to each one's his own. We have to turn whenever our time comes, and we realize that now it's my time, and I have to turn within, and I have suffered enough craving for that contentment outside of me, and torturing thousand number of people around me who I claim to be my friends. Even with friends, whether spiritual friends or non-spiritual friends, doesn't matter. We begin to have expectations. We can't help it. Why is my joy not coming from there? So, to realize that earth's joys shut from the immortal's bliss. So, to abstain, why I came here was because Sri Aurobindo here is talking about the abstaining, to step back from what you are craving. When we step back from what we are craving, then if we really have the will to go within, we can taste immortal's bliss there. But for that, that stepping back is required. If I have the familiar habits which are giving me earth's joys, and I'm content with it and happy to repeat it all over again and again and disturb the people around me because they are the providers, of course, then of course I can't. But if I have understood the entanglement of it, how much entanglement it causes to want our satisfaction from outside, I think then we will understand that why it is so important. And mother says that whenever we have disappointments, it means that there was a desire. Whenever relating to the outer people or situations, whenever we have disappointments, it means again my fulfillment was trying to come from outside. My hope was from outside. And this happens with us again and again, that our hope again begins to have, from outside something will come. To become absolutely hopeless and to know that nothing, absolutely nothing which can come from outside will give me lasting satisfaction. I think to become hopeless is, in that sense, is a very good thing, because only then we turn within. Yeah. So any last comments, anyone?
Yeah, I know that the lines you said from Savitri, right under those lines, there is also um, another couple of Yeah, another couple of lines. Very, very beautiful. It says the line you read is Earth's joys shut from thee the immortal's bliss. In the next line it says, thence rose the need of a dark, intruding God, the world's dread teacher, the creator pain. Uh, and also in the passage, it was somewhere it says that although the witnessing consciousness is now able to see things, but it's still sort of disturbed or something. And I find that in my personal experience, I see that there are levels of consciousness. In the last 1 year, I'm noticing that the first level was, or the beginning level was where I was in ignorance and I was happy, doing my stuff, doing my things. And then it moved slowly to another level. And in that level, what happened is I was happy to enter that level, saying that, okay, now I'm seeing some light. Now there is little bit clarity, than before of what I am doing. Then comes another level where I'm looking at myself, I'm witnessing it. But at the current level, where there is partial ignorance, like, either there should be full ignorance or no ignorance, but this is partial ignorance is phase where I see that, okay, this is addictive. Why do I want to go there? This the joy from something is temporary. Why do I want to still get it? And this fight with that other being inside who keeps on saying, repeat, repeat, repeat the old habits. That it's so painful. Like, there is literally no peace sometimes because someone's fighting with someone inside the mind, inside the body. But these lines and this, Savitri's many books, it's also a great guide. I'd say it helps um, because I think that is also something to like it says that the darker god, no, or something like that. I'm very bad at remembering lines, but the darker gods. Now I can just look at that situation and say, okay, this is also a god. This is something that was trying to teach me, making me even more stronger to go to the next level. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Any last comments? Anyone? We'll stop here after this. If there is anything. Okay. So in that case, let's take a moment of silence to dedicate, share all the collective or individual merits with all the sentient beings near and far. May all of us have true happiness and the causes for true happiness, and may we not suffer, and may all the causes of suffering be taken away from us. May each one of us find their own true immortal bliss within themselves. And may the Divine give us the strength required to turn within